Banjo just had a lot of success last game.
Did,
and
but
I don't think Banjo is that bad against Steve. I know nothing about Sora, Steve. I will not claim to.
I will say, I agree that it's not as bad as it might seem, but Wonder Wing being a limited resource, blocks are so good against that tool. It's hard to justify.
Wonder Wing is not usable.
Right, it's like that.
Wonder Wing is for recovery.
Is harder, and the commitment to your projectiles is so much higher than a character like Snake, which is still only +1 on Steve, that you don't necessarily want to commit as hard. Whereas Sora, you have this big active hitbox. You can edge guard Steve, occupy that space to really contest the Lytra. Up air is one of the best juggle tools in the game, and give you space to actually just go through Anvil straight up. So a lot of
it is huge. That was also really good SDI on that forwarder, getting off the stage, jumping back on with the up air. And we're seeing Unleash just go right up and fight him early on here.
Yeah, because like this is one of the things. Steve can struggle when you have a big sword, because he doesn't get to set up the walls in the same way. He has to fight you. And Steve's biggest weakness, not the frame data, not the damage output, it's the stubby range on his distance. And so a character like Sora can exploit that really hard, and
it's beautifully done.
Exactly, keep you in those combos. And a character like Steve, he's blocky. His animations are awkward, but he is just big and square, which makes him a great combo target.
He is, and also that was a combo that finished on one of the blocks. That was very smart there by Unleash, just being aware of the surroundings in this matchup.
I mean, hey, on the biggest stage, he blocked it out and performed to its peak.
And air dodges through that F smash as well. Unleashed off to a very strong start here in game number 1.
And now the pressure, he's got this edge guard situation. I like the counter attempt, but Just Blue just waiting. Beautiful patience from him, willing to run away, reset the situation, and that Thundaga, not intended to hit. If it does, great, but you really just want to set it back to Blizzaga, to Faraga, tools that are going to be much better suited to pressure Steve under these platforms.
Yeah, Thundaga really a much stronger tool in the air, off stage, when your opponent's off stage, situations like that, whereas Faraga and Blizzaga are the ones you use more in neutral.
And unfortunately, even though Unleash losing the stock there, I love that route, angling his side special perfectly to just NIL back on stage, right? Just sliding right on where he got under the block as well to dodge away from the Diamond Axe. Unleash trying to find a way to not take too many hits, lock you down back off stage with Faraga online, right? One fireball at mid-range could confirm into an F smash. Just Blue might be an advantage right now, but he still needs to be scared.
We're not able to punish with that up B. That B is frame 7, super fast out of shield option. But of course, so many of Steve's buttons safer than -6. So this is very even here coming up, as Just Blue has really brought it back, but Unleashed has been really in control of the neutral a lot of the time. He's done a really good job just keeping Steve away, but also managing to find his way in when he wants to.
He's playing that really awkward mid-range. You were talking about earlier in the last time he was on stream, how that floatiness can be a benefit, right?
Exactly.
As well as a negative. And we're seeing that here with him. He's willing to sit these awkward angles that Steve cannot threaten without huge resource investment. And by the time he invests those resources, Unleashed can still get right out of dodge and reset the situation. Unfortunately, though, when you put some power on those rails, it's very fast. And even though he was down a whole lot a moment ago, just like that, not only is our game dead even, but Just Blue still has full on resources right now, right? 3 iron, diamond, the gold, the boot. He's sitting pretty.
Yeah, still sitting here with the high power tools. That's an awkward situation.
That was a gorgeous setup too. Just hits the minecart, jumps out, and then hops right back in to keep it active, and then uses the minecart to keep his F smash hitbox a little bit longer, even though it didn't work out. Just Blue's been playing so smart today.
He really has, and we saw the first appearance of Sora counter, which certainly can be a factor in this matchup. Sora counter, one of the best counters in the game, puts you in this awkward kind of hit grab state where you get countered no matter what you were doing, really.
And that was so smart as well from Unleashed, trying to do the Arkham Ladder to carry Just Blue back on top of the block wall to find the reset situation. Both these players scrapping, though, Winters. They can't find the hit. They want to close out this game knowing just how clutch the other one has been today, and that if you give them an inch, they will take that mile.
Yeah, and Unleashed forced to recover from way off the stage there, of course. That is never a problem for Sora. And we're also seeing Just Blue pretty low on materials here, running completely out here other than that one gold brick.
Yeah, and that gold not going to do much with because it can't put... It's not flashing, right? So it doesn't have the resources to turn into tools, even if you wanted to. You've already got diamond, though, but gold being faster frame data-wise might actually be an advantage of this higher percent. We're not going to do it, though. That's gonna hurt. Like, if
that's right.
Like, he's thinking a pickaxe in the back of his spine, like, ouch. Like...
Unleashed played so much of that matchup so well, got him out of resources, put him off stage, just barely messes up the edge guard there, and a really smart roll through, and then the punish with the back air.
Yeah, it's the swing, and that's the downside of Sora's floatiness.
Yep.
Is he swings on the rising, and because of that, he's still caught in the end lag before he can descend.
And he's up there forever. Yeah.
And that just allows Just Blue to do whatever he wants. It was just one extra swing because Unleashed in that scramble situation was like, I need to close it out. I need to close it out, right? And when that gets in our head, hey, I'm so close, we start to make some wonky decisions.
Yeah. And there's a good early conversion for Just Blue, getting 51% right off the bat.
That being said, did you see that up air? He was looking for the back air. That could have been the stock because Sora would have found the edge guard there. However, now that TNT in the perfect situation to force Unleashed back off stage, and he has to run off and overcommit a little bit to the edge guard or earlier than he would have wanted because the TNT doesn't get to set up the ledge trap, but still is somehow making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, it was a really smart use of the counter. I like seeing him use that counter more. It's going to be hard for Steve to punish it even if it whiffs in situations like that, because if it whiffs, Steve is probably going right past doing the minecart or just isn't even there yet. So I do like him using that more. It's a high risk, kind of low to medium, low risk, high reward on situation, where you can get kills with it off stage. You can beat the minecart. You can do all kinds of things off it. Just missing the timing on that. That is, of course, basically pure luck when you get those timings. It is based on how fast the opponent mashes.
And the single direction, you don't see Sora's mix up how many of those they do, but this is why Unleashed is one of the best reps out there, this character, right? He knows the tools, the mix-ups inside and out, and while he definitely has matchup experience against many Steves, the only Sora that Just Blue's probably ever played even close to this level is Unleashed, right?
Which means that as long as another Sora at this level,
as long as he keeps innovating, that's gonna be all. That can be all she wrote, and there might be one. Definitely has definitely been up there recently, but that's a more recent thing as well.
And that's also not anywhere near this region. I mean, we're not seeing other Soras in this region really at all. I've really only seen one or two other people playing this character whatsoever, and certainly nowhere near the level of Unleashed so far.
Yeah, Live is definitely the closest thing over in Connecticut as well, but doesn't travel to Mass nearly as much. So as you were saying, doesn't see that practice, nor those opportunities. The Blizzaga not going to find its mark, and just the reset, but Just Blue missing the read, doesn't matter, cleans it up anyways. And Winters, that was almost a full 0 to death. There is nowhere for Unleashed to run. There's nowhere to hide, and he needs to find this edge guard. He cannot get put in disadvantage. Again, he is starting to swing, starting to get antsy, and Just Blue is taking advantage of every single step of it.
And Unleashed finally getting some damage down, but this is a more and more convincing lead for Just Blue as we go on. He's playing so smart in this matchup, just doing a really good job staying just barely out of that effective range of Sora, and even though Sora does have a little bit more range, you know, as we're talking about, his movement is so committal. He can move a little faster than Steve, but he really is hanging up in the air.
That parry was crazy. Did you see the NIL block to set up? Didn't even hold shield. Just was like, I'm going to instantly parry this up air. Checkmate situation, but the block saved him. He mixed the timing enough that he was able to find the opening, trick Unleashed up, and now it's there. Not going to use the Frogger to melt the Blizzard. Instead of calling out the Mad and finds the stock. That block could come back to fight Just Blue.
Yeah, this is not over yet, but it is going to be pretty rough to come back from here, down over 130% at the start of the stock still. And the Anvil will take it. Just Blue going up 2-0, and that's a rough spot for Unleashed. You know, he was so close in that game 1, and then Just Blue really pulling away that game 2.
And up 2-0, you know, we have had so many reverse 3-0s in this Grands. It is really, or almost reverse 3-0s in this top 6. It really is the epitome of, hey, it is not ever over till it's over.
Do we see the Banjo?
Yes, we do.
Here we go. All right.
Hey,
I'm very curious to see this. Yeah.
And fool me once, shame on me. Or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on
Something
me.
like that.
But whatever the positive equivalent of that is what Unleashed is trying to get on right now, because he's trying to make, who knows, if he wins this whole tournament reverse 3-0ing people with Banjo, does he just become a Banjo man? I feel would have to at that point,
That's my dream. This also, I think, is not as bad of a matchup as Fox, but we'll see. Banjo is very large. You will certainly get comboed. You do, however, get to recover for free 5 times per stock. That's really the use of Wonder Wing. You're not really going to be using Wonder Wing on stage a whole lot in this matchup, but it's super important to have that as free recoveries against Steve.
You would think, but block, you can put it in the way, kind of off stage, and say no to Wonder Wing, right? You just build a little bit of a wall.
Well, you can, but it certainly goes through the weaker ones decently well, and also you're in free fall after it, so you can get closer with that and then up B. over
but
the rest of the wall.
It does still let them set up Anvil or Minecart is kind of what I'm saying. It's not a free recovery, and
it's not always guaranteed, but it's way better than what a lot of characters have.
Generally, where you really want to see the Wonder Wing in this matchup is what we just saw. It's to punish these Anvils on landing, and it's to punish Minecart. It's in the start of these moves where they're full commitment from Steve before you can kind of just get out a dodge on them for free. Wonder Wing just gets to beat them out like nobody's business and find huge punishes.
That was an interesting situation there, as the Wonder Wing will come through almost 130%, certainly kill percent for Just Blue here, but he's starting to really build up this lead, and this is so much damage, and this is really the biggest issue for Banjo in this matchup above everything else. He just takes so much damage when he gets hit, and he doesn't put that damage back out. You know, his combo game, he's got an extensive combo game, but it just doesn't hurt very much.
And the other thing too is that's because a lot of his buttons or hitboxes are so inconsistent, right? Banjo just doesn't find the opportunities he needs consistently to land those, and wonky DI and angle there from that egg, gonna give the opening, the block, missing the tech, but giving you just enough of a bounce to survive, increasing those angles just a tad as needed. And now that there's a lot of resources expended from Just Blue to even reset to exactly the same place he was in before, the iron is gone, diamond extra online, and up a full stock. At this point, you're just trying to make him work as much as possible, wean this clock down, because if you keep playing at this rate, he's going to get timed out, and you're totally okay with that.
Yeah, and that's going to take it, and this is a struggle here. Unleash has got to find this stock. Probably take it with something like a back throw, a back air near the ledge, but he's got to find a hit, and he's almost dead here.
And there's the block, right? We were talking about before, going down low with the anvil. Beautiful wait from Unleash to find his way back and closes it out. But that's what we were talking about. I was talking about before. With that's not a free recovery on the Wonder Wing, because Steve just can set up so many traps, so many obstacles to that course to force Banjo to expend his multitude of resources, find a way back in, and then once he does, right, Just Blue just gets to reset the situation again, full resources, as much iron as he wants, full diamond and gold. If you're Banjo,
that's a rough spot.
If you're Banjo, you need to save these Wonder Wings to find this stock and the next one. And if you miss a single one, that's all she wrote. Why does the character not get them back?
That's a good question. There are a lot of things I would like to change about Banjo, but Unleash is doing a good job here. You know, he's staying alive, but he has such a rough start to this game that even though he started to adapt to the matchup and play it better, this is going to be a real struggle to bring it all the way back.
Panic rolls and air dodges coming out to the side too. Ooh, Just Blue is okay with that because he just can, he can take the stock, lose it, go down. He still has diamond. He still has resources the second time, but the 24 frames that it takes for diamond to come out allowed Unleash to reset the situation just one more time. Even though Just Blue gets it back, he doesn't get stage control. He can mine his resources, but at the cost of some extra damage. And this is the situation Unleash wants, but with one Wonder Wing left, he has to make it count.
This is not over yet at this point. We got 54%. Unleash really starting to bring this back. He's played this matchup so much better.
Oh, no.
Oh, almost. You might have to Wonder Wing. Oh, no, he's going back. He's going back. He had all his jumps. Yeah.
He's trying to find a way back and find a way through the maze that Steve is putting out back and forth. The labyrinth here on PS2, but no Pokemon in sight. Somehow out. He's brought it just back even with one iron left. Great taxing those resources to the match, but somebody call Nook because Steve pays them on time. It's going to be Just Blue once again, moving on to Losers Finals.
Losers Finals. Just Blue is in top 3 with a 3-0 over Unleash, and he will play Sharp.
And I'm sure Sharp is thrilled to be playing Steve right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Aren't we all?
To quote Sharp earlier, woo, Steve, yeah! That's not my opinion on Steve. I want to clarify that is what Sharp said to Mars watching top 24 earlier. He was in a lot of Steve today. He was enthused.
Steve is certainly an interesting character to watch. There's always something going on.
And I think one of the things too is that Steve reconfigures kind of the rules of how the game is played.
Yes, very much
to a drastic level.
That is many people's issue with it.
Similarly to a character like Snake. But because the